We will start the evening with the contested races with the moderator, the town moderator position. So if Mr. Manning and Mr. Puzo could please come forward. Thank you. And by random lottery, Mr. Manning, you have been chosen to go first with your opening statement. I will let you get seated, but wanted to let you know that. And just as a reminder, again, you have 2 minutes each for the opening statement, and then we will start with the question portion.
Good evening, you all. I'm from South Hingham. I've adopted the language. My name's Bernard Manning. I live at 59 Cushing Street, and I am a candidate for moderator, among other things. I have proposed 9 warrant articles for town meeting, 6 of them directly related to the duties of the moderator. First, the annual town meeting shall be held on a Saturday afternoon commencing at 2 p.m. The Monday evening time at 7 p.m. is inconvenient for most citizens who commute to work, and it discourages many from attending. Because the proposed town meeting would begin in the early afternoon, it is doubtful that an adjournment to another day would be needed to complete the warrant. Number 2, those articles known to be or considered to be important, controversial, contentious, and or requiring lengthy discussion shall be placed first in the warrant and shall be called first for discussion by the moderator. The most important issues deserve priority, especially for the convenience of those attending, and discussed while minds are fresh and alert, and not after more administrative matters are reviewed uncontested. Number 3, once the quorum of 300 is reached, it is presumed to continue until business has been completed and a motion to dissolve the meeting made. This change is consistent with the bylaws and the Mass General laws. We're meeting... I just ran out of time.
Thank you,
You have
Mr.
to guess what I was going to say.
Thank you, Mr. Manning.
You're quite welcome.
Mr. Puzo.
Thank you, and thanks to the League for hosting this event. I'll just take a couple of moments to talk about why I'm a candidate for this position. Essentially, I respect the town. I respect the institution of open town meeting. I think that the opportunity that we have to come together annually with voice and vote to act as our own legislature is a great privilege, a profound privilege. We have a tradition of open town meeting that has served us well for a great long time. I'd be honored to be part of it on a continuing basis. For 34 years, I've been a practicing lawyer. I've had opportunities through that to give service to the town and to other community organizations, often in positions of leadership. I've served in various boards here in town, Zoning Board of Appeals, the Transportation Committee, the Water Supply Committee, and the last 12 years on the Personnel Board. I've chaired it for the last 12 years. I took time off from that board and submitted my resignation in February to concentrate my efforts on this position. The bottom line to me is we have had a tradition which is rich and has paid dividends. As you've heard tonight, we have the same kind of commitment to open, fair, free, measured debate at our floor of town meeting that the League stands for here. We obviously have had the privilege of having an extraordinary person serve in this position for over 45 years. People have said to me, I can't believe that somebody's going to succeed Tom O'Donnell. And my position is that, that somebody's going to replace Tom O'Donnell. And I said, nobody's going to replace him. Somebody will succeed him. but no one will replace him. So to the extent that I have abilities that I can bring to bear for the town, it would be an honor to do so.
Thank you, Mr. Puzo. And then we're going to actually start the questions with you, Mr. Puzo, with the random draw. And the first question for both of you is, 7 article on this year's town meeting proposed changes to the conduct of town meeting. Will these proposals result in greater efficiency, more fairness, or more informed decision-making by voters? What is your opinion on these proposals?
Well, I suppose with 34 years as a lawyer, my initial answer will be it depends on whether they get passed. And at least from my perspective, I come to town meeting with an open mind. Everything that comes before a town meeting deserves full and fair debate. To the extent that the will of town meeting is to adopt changes that the town meeting believes will be in the best interests of full, fair discourse, informed debate, town meeting, as a body politic, will choose to adopt those changes. And whether they enhance or improve the debate will be seen in the years to come.
Thank you. Mr. Manning?
I would answer all of the above that you cited. Many of the items appearing in the warrant have been generated by me, and I find them absolutely necessary in order to continue the democratic process. For example, the motion for a it's one of those Alzheimer's moments.
The previous question?
Yeah, thank you. The motion for the previous question, commonly known as a motion for a vote, should be considered a matter not to end discussion when there are those that are waiting to speak.
Thank you. Mr. Manning, we'll start with you for this next question. What is your opinion of Hingham's requirement of a quorum of 300 voters? Should it be retained, and why or why not?
There's a wide divergence in the surrounding communities. Some have no quorum, others have a quorum of 100, and others have a quorum of 200. And of course, we are one of the unique communities that requires a quorum of 300. If people aren't interested enough in attending town meeting and you can't muster a quorum, what's the sense of it continuing to exist? I suggest that a quorum is unnecessary. It's an obstruction, and it usually delays the process when there are consecutive evenings requiring a town meeting to complete the town business.
Thank you. Mr. Puzo?
It strikes me that either 200 or 300 are both reasonable numbers. To me, the question is being examined, obviously, by the Government Study Committee and by town meeting itself. And again, I believe strongly in the will of town meeting. We have, on third nights and fourth nights, obviously sometimes had difficulty mustering a quorum. But the fact is, to me, citizen engagement is key. And I know you didn't ask me about representative town meeting, but to me, to a significant extent, a quorum requirement calls people out and really says to them, if you believe in this town, if you believe in self-governance, show up. And if it's 200 or 300, it's a reasonable number of citizens. I'm sure statistically you get a good cross-section. The critical thing in a town the size of ours, with the number of registered voters that we have, is to give the town meeting more than lip service and to show up and participate.